Up until a week ago, my friend asked me, I had a very firm answer on whether or not you should enter the profession of photography. Clear cut, 100% unequivocal, if you want to do it, go and do it. But I'm always talking to people I'm not invested in. This time it was my friend and his daughter, and he wanted to know if it was a good idea. And I told them, absolutely not. And here's why. Unlike most jobs where let's take an admin assistant for example, you go in there, it's not overly competitive, you do your work and all the rest of it. Photography is extremely competitive. There's not much need for average photography. Not many people go, well, do you know what, I need some pretty bog standard average work producing today at a reasonable price. No, that is not the case. Yes, of course, there are those cheap clients, but it's not a sustainable business model, but that's a different conversation for a different day. Photography is not an easy industry to get into. I looked at the stats a while ago, and on the UK, when you look at commercial photography, not all the other genres, although I'm sure they're represented similarly, it's a 0.7% of people who file a tax return actually make the good money. That is not a great 0.7. If you were told, oh yeah, if your kid goes into this industry, they've got a 0.7% chance of making a decent living, you'd probably tell them to try something else. That's point one. Now, point two is, unlike an admin assistant where you're going in and you're showing them how you can administrate something, what you're doing in photography in the commercial end, and probably in a lot of other genres as well, but I'll speak for commercial photographers only here because that's what I do. On the commercial end is you're selling yourself. You're selling your own personality. You're selling your visual representation of the world. It's the same on YouTube. When you're watching this video here, you're watching it because you like what I say, how I say it, or something along those lines. If you don't like it, you're basically saying, I don't like you, Scott. Not everybody is built for that. Having that feedback where you get rejected for a job because someone goes, yeah, do you know what? We don't like who you are, is not a great feeling. Getting a negative comment on YouTube because someone doesn't like you, it's not a great feeling, and not everybody can deal with that. Being told you've lost a job because your particular view of the world is not right for them, that hurts. Having no jobs for 9 months because of that, that really sucks. And it takes a certain type of individual, probably one who's slightly unhinged, to be able to just push through it regardless. And of course, you can tell yourself, oh, you know, people won't like everybody. I don't like everybody. Why would everyone else like me? Of course, it makes logical sense. But the reality and the actual sensation of it is quite hard. Losing jobs repeatedly back to back because they don't like your work or you're not good enough, or whatever it may be, that's a really hard thing to stomach, and it can really send some people into a spiral. Now, next up is not easy. Now, most things in life worth having are not easy, but photography, it's quite difficult. I've done a few different things. This is the hardest thing I've done. Now, it wasn't hard to get into it. Getting started's easy, but getting to the level I'm at now, that was really hard. It was exceptionally hard. It wasn't like a quick thing to do. I had to put years of work into it, doing 7-day weeks, 12-hour days. It was brutal. There's a lot of jobs where you can earn 6 figures with doing far less work, and it's far less difficult to do so. And if that's what you're after in your life, just a good salary, there's easier ways to get it than this. Now, the next reason is, oddly enough, one of the reasons most people go into photography as a self-employed person. But you're gonna fail. You have to be great at working for a boss. You have to be great at being an employee, because from today, for the rest of your life, every single day, you have a different boss. Some days you have multiple bosses, and here's the thing. When you're working full time, they've got to kind of keep you on side because you're coming in the next day. When you're working freelance, they don't have to do a thing. It's up to you to manage the relationship, to get the repeat business, because that's how businesses are kept sustainable. If you don't get that repeat work, you're kind of out of luck. And alongside this, you have to be great with money. You have to understand forecasting, you have to understand taxes, you have to be able to spend responsibly, which most people I do a one-to-one with over on Tin House Studios, they don't. The biggest thing I see is people spending a disproportionate amount of their gross on fun toys. During COVID, almost everyone I knew went out of business. Just straight away, like almost instantly, within 2 months they were gone. And they had to go and get jobs because they weren't good with money. If you're not brilliant with money, and you can learn to be good with money, I was useless with money for the first probably 5 years of my career, and it shows in my income. But if you can get good at looking after money, good at spending responsibly, good at hunkering down, you will be okay at this. But most people are not good at that. Most people get their phone on finance, get their car on finance, have credit card debts. This is not a good starting point for running a business. This is how it goes wrong. You need to be good with money. You also have to be good with people. You have to be able to get on with people with different personality types that you wouldn't necessarily go out for a drink with outside of work. A lot of what I do is socializing with people that I wouldn't socialise with naturally. I mean, to be honest, I don't socialise naturally, but I've learnt the skills and I know how to do it and I can make everyone have a good time. When they're out with me, I'm there to give them a good time. And that's what I do. And you really have to be great at that. There's a real skill to it. Again, you can learn it. Some people are naturally great at it. My agent Pete is a demon at networking and socialising. Me, I have to work at it and then I'm shattered the next day. Now, the main thing though, is that you can't be an average photographer. I don't know a single average photographer who has had a full career. I know average photographers who've done it for 5-6 years and then gone. I know average photographers who've tried and then failed because they couldn't make enough money for their lifestyle they're living before it. But I don't know any average photographers who've done it long term. There are loads of careers you can do all the way to retirement whilst being average. This is not one of them. This is highly competitive, highly creative. You need great business sense, you need to be great with people. It is such a difficult industry, and unless you're one of those people who can do those things, unless you're able to sit down and take the abuse, take the rejection, whilst managing finances, whilst having a new boss every day, it's not for you. And the majority of people who come into photography come into it because they can't work for a boss, which means they're gonna have a nightmare. They're not good with finances, because they're really creative and they don't worry about money. And all of these things are a recipe for disaster. I always think of it, and this is just my perspective, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, but you need to treat it like elite sport. And this is probably because of my background. You have to work on your strengths excessively so, outsource your weaknesses when you can afford to, run your finances frugally. There's a reason why I drive the worst car out of everybody who works for me. When we turn up to a shoot, everyone else has got fancy cars. I turn up in an old banger because I'm being sensible with money, because I need to stay the long road. And it's all these little things where you're just kind of slowly building it up into a point where you can do that. Now, of course, it's not just me who can do it. Lots of people can do it. But I'd say the majority can't, which is why I am no longer recommending that people come into this career unless there is nothing else you want to do with your life. So for me, for example, this is it. This is all I'm interested in doing with my life. I don't want to get a job. This is it. And because of that, I've worked at these other areas. But if you're sitting there going, yeah, I could do this, I could do that, do that. Do that other thing. Unless you're fully committed, it's all you want to do, I would not recommend it because statistically, there's a 0.7% chance that you're going to be one of those who make it. So it's not ideal. However, if you're watching this channel, I'd say that percentage is much higher because people watching this, it's not fun, exciting B-roll and slow-mo panning across and all that entertainment. This is education. If you're here already, you stand a far greater chance because you probably already have all of those traits that I've listed. And if you don't, now you know about them and you can go and work on them too. See you soon. Bye-bye.